Good Sunday night. How are y'all doing? Welcome to the live fishing conversation Q&A with Captain Dylan Hubbard here from Hubbard's Marina. We do it all from deep sea fishing, offshore, near shore. We're going to talk a little bit about everything here. Give us a few minutes as we get rolling. Stay tuned. If you're not watching this video live, just skip ahead to where you see the video start. If you are watching this live, give us a second. We'll get rolling. Hey guys, happy Sunday night. Captain Dylan Hubbard here from Hubbard's Marina, ready for our live fishing seminar Q&A. If you're watching this live, give us a few minutes. We'll get rolling. If you're not watching this live, go ahead and skip forward to the video start. We're going to be talking a little bit about nearshore and offshore fishing, giving you tons of fishing tips and tricks and answering your questions live. So drop your questions in the comment box and we'll get rolling here shortly. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Happy Sunday night, y'all. We're going to get rolling here in just a few minutes. Again, if you're watching this live, just hold on for a little bit. If you're not watching this live, skip forward to the video start. We'll be with you guys shortly. Get ready with your questions. Happy Sunday night, guys. Give us a few minutes and we'll get rolling here. We're going to be watching, we're going to be starting here shortly, guys. Just give me a few minutes to get started. If you're not watching this live, you can skip forward. If you are watching this live, give me a few more seconds and we'll get started. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you had a great Sunday and a good weekend. We'll be with you shortly. While we're waiting here, guys, help me spread the word. Share this video on your timelines. We'll be getting here started here shortly, but help me spread the word. Spread that video around. Share it with your favorite fishing club, favorite fishing group, or on your timeline. And click like if you enjoy these live fishing seminar and Q&As. We're going to be rolling here in just a second. Hopefully you guys have lots of questions for me and you're ready for some talking fishing, and hopefully I can help teach you a few things about fishing. We're going to be talking a little bit about our fishing report. We're going to be talking a little bit about what's been going on here at Hubbard's Marina. We're going to be talking about some upcoming events, upcoming fishing seasons. Whatever you want to talk about is what we're going to be talking about. So hopefully you guys are ready, because I'm ready in just a few seconds. Thank you for everybody who came out to Bass Pro Shops yesterday. That was a really, really good event. John Kitson, Tom Ray, thanks for sharing the video, guys. I appreciate you. Hey, there it is. I remembered to turn on the sound tonight, so hopefully it won't be as bad as the last time. If any of you guys missed it, I did a whole live video and forgot to turn on the sound, so that was pretty funny. If you did miss it, I'm glad you missed it. That was embarrassing to say the least. First thing I want to start out with tonight, guys, is I wanted to show off how our 39-hour did. We had a 39-hour come in this morning, and they did very well. Now, I have not had a chance to edit the photos, so you're going to see raw, unedited photos here with some rather funny ones, because Will always likes to steal Bob's camera and do a few funny photos in there. So if you enjoy these live videos, help me by spreading the word, by sharing this video on your timeline. Click like to show your support. And we're going to dive right in here and see some of the photos from this weekend's 39-hour trip. So again, I have not gone through these yet, so we're going to go through these together. Hopefully we won't run into anything too embarrassing. But I know Will snuck some funny photos in here of people sleeping. Here's on the way out, they always do their fishing seminar. Will shows people how to do the double snell rig. So if you haven't done a 39-hour trip, on the way out is a great time to learn a little bit more about fishing. Will covers a lot. Tammy always makes some great food for us. And here's some of those embarrassing photos that I was talking about. Will wants to start a YouTube video or a YouTube channel of people sleeping. So that'll be, he's well on his way. He's got a lot of people sleeping already, especially from this red snapper season. So it was a good start to the night. Some mangrove snapper action, some mackerel, some American red snapper. We had to catch and release. American red snapper season is over. And there it is. A lot of people have been talking about it. A lot of people know what it is. For those of you who don't know, that is the elusive snapper bass right there. The old snapper bass. Will McClure, our first mate on the overnight trip, has dubbed this fish a snapper bass. It's merely a yellowtail snapper mixed with an American red snapper. So it's just a hybrid snapper that Will has jokingly dubbed the snapper bass, which apparently he's going to get mounted on his wall at home. His wife is so nice to him. We got Justin Perlow showing off a nice mangrove snapper, red snapper. We've got some monster yellowtails, some huge yellowtails caught this weekend on the 39-hour trip. Tons of big yellowtail. Some nice gag grouper action on the 39-hour trip. Lady anglers can do it too. She slammed some big fish out there. She had a good trip. Lots of yellowtail and mangroves. Look at that yellowtail. That's Will's hand. That is a monster yellowtail. And there's a lot of them too. So really great trip with the yellowtail. Then Tammy made us a great breakfast. Everybody's catching some Z's. We had the sunrise mango bite. Look at that rod bend. That's a nice one. Beautiful sunrise. Everything's better on the water, even the sunrise. Nice mangrove snapper start to the day. Oh yeah, there's a nice big gag. That was a big one. Captain Garrett showing off some of the mangroves. Nice pile. Nice pink porgy mixed in there. Love those rosies. Those are good eating fish if you haven't had one before. There he is. That is a big gag. Wow. Nice fish for sure. Captain Garrett put them on him. Oh, gotta click the screen again. And we're stuck. There it is. John Martin back at it, catching some nice gags. Catch and release red snapper. Here is Captain Garrett spreading the ashes of one of our good friends. Unfortunately passed away, Rio Iwabuchi of Kaizen Sushi in Tampa. It's a longtime regular at Hubbard's Marina and did a lot of our 39-hour trips. And he was laid to rest on the middle grounds on one of his favorite fishing spots. Will catching some Z's. Nice big old red grouper. Gag grouper. There's a rock hind. Real good eating fish. Nice mango. Leo and Tammy. The full moon. And here's the pile of fish. Real good pile of fish. Some of the jackpot contenders. There's the jackpot winner, Mr. Leo. Got a nice big old jackpot mango. Look at that yellowtail. That yellowtail is almost as big as some of those grouper. Man, that's a good trip right there. So that was our 39-hour trip, guys. Remember, drop your comments in the comments section. Drop your questions into the comments, I should say. Let's see here if we got any questions now that we did a little bit of a fishing report. Oh, Philadelphia tuning in. Thanks for telling us where you're watching from, guys. Always enjoy seeing where you guys are watching from. Jovan, tomorrow's trip is still on. There's absolutely no expectation for choppy water at all this week. We did a little bit of the fishing report, showed you what's going on the 39-hour trip, what we've been catching. I'll quickly go through the weather for this week. Again, hubbardsmarina.com under fishing trips, the weather links. You can see our forecast. Jovan was asking about tomorrow's 5-hour half day because we are taking some kids out fishing with them. And tomorrow is less than 1 foot seas, so you should not expect any type of chop tomorrow, Jovan. It's going to be a flat, calm, gorgeous day. Tuesday jumps up a little bit, but still under 2 foot. And for the remainder of the week, it's very light forecast. So we're not expecting any type of nasty conditions. Even out here in the deeper water, it's flat, calm pretty much all week. So looking forward to a beautiful week of weather. Even on the NOAA forecast up here at the top. On NOAA, they're expecting a really nice week of weather as well. So the offshore fishing this week, 2 feet or less all the way through on the nearshore waters. Offshore is more of the same, so we're expecting a beautiful week of weather. Going to be a great time to get out there and enjoy some fishing. So if you are not already planning to Come join us at Hubbard's Marina this week for some deep sea fishing. We got tons of 5-hour half days, 10-hour all days. Tomorrow we have super light loads on our 5-hour half day. We're doing those PM half day trips right now, and they're doing really well out there on the gray snapper, porgies, sea bass. You have a shot at some hogfish, and those mackerel should be showing up here soon too. So a lot of great opportunities to go fishing with us at Hubbard's Marina this week with some light loads as well. All right, let's see here. Greg Armstrong getting us rolling tonight by asking, what do you look for to decide if you're going to go knocker rig, double snell, etc.? Greg, what I look for is how the fishing is. If the fishing's good, everybody's catching fish, then generally I'm going to be sticking to that fish finder rig, which is the egg sinker, the swivel, my leader, and my double snell rig or my live bait hook. I generally don't go to a knocker rig unless the bite is slow. Knocker rig typically is for when the bite is a lot slower. The knocker rig allows that bait to drift down more naturally. You're able to present your bait more naturally, and it gives you a shot at some of those really good eating, more leader shy fish like the hogfish or some of those bigger mangrove snapper or yellowtail snapper that are a little too finicky to hit that fish finder rig as it rockets to bottom. So Greg, as far as what I look for to decide between a normal fish finder rig with a larger egg sinker and a leader and a double snell rig or a knocker rig is how the bite is. So typically I start with that fish finder rig. If the bite's going well, I stick to it. If the bite's a little softer or slower, then I might switch to that knocker rig. Good question, Greg. Got us started off on a good foot here. Rick Littler asked 39 or 44 hour. That's a great question, Rick. A 39 hour is fishing the same area as a 44 hour. The big difference between the 39 and 44 hour is the 39 hour does not get as much fishing time. So a 39 hour leaves, let's for example stick to the weekend trip, so Friday to Sunday. So a 39 hour would leave 3 p.m. Friday and come back 6 a.m. Sunday. A 44 hour trip would leave 10 a.m. Friday and come back Sunday morning at 6 a.m. So the 44 hour gives you 5 extra hours of fishing time. But because you leave at 10 a.m., we start fishing about 7 to 9 p.m. Friday night. So you get 5 extra hours on that 44 hour trip, but those are all night fishing hours. So you get a lot more night fishing time. And those 44 hours only happen on a full moon. So those 5 extra hours of night fishing time on a 44 hour is all full moon night bite action, where the fishing is really good for the snapper, some of the grouper species, the pelagics. We catch a lot of tuna and kingfish at night on those 44-hour trips, especially when we're soaking a snapper spot and tearing up those mangrove snapper, yellowtail snapper, and vermilion snapper. So in my opinion, a 44 hours is very unique because you get more night fishing time, but the 39 hours, the old beauty, the one that's been working for so many years. And some people find the 44 hour to be a little bit difficult, Rick, just because you don't have a lot of sleeping time. Because we leave at 10 a.m., we start fishing about 7 to 9 o'clock on a 44 hour at that night. So if you don't sleep on the way out, which is during the day, you have to fish all the way through the night, which is a little difficult. And if you fall asleep during that nighttime fishing, you might as well have done a 39 hour because you're missing out on what you paid for, realistically. So the 39 versus 44 hours is an age-old question, and it really comes down to you and what you prefer. But I recommend everybody try a 44. I had a choke down dinner after church, and gonna keep drinking some water here. Try to choke it all the way down. So let's see here what other questions we have here. Again, guys, if you're just tuning in, please drop your comments or drop your questions into the comment box. And if you can, help me by liking this video on the Hubbard's Marina page or Captain Dylan Hubbard page and sharing it to your timeline. If you're watching us on YouTube, just give us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That'd be great. Let's see what other questions we have here. Tom Ray, I like your question. I like your comment about Cap Mike Anderson. For those of you who don't watch the Real Animals Fishing Show this weekend, Cap Mike Anderson was sleeveless in studio, and Tom Ray, I can't pull that off. I'm no Mike Anderson, but maybe one day. Oh, Inglewood, Fort Myers area is tuned in. Thanks, guys, for telling us where you're watching from. Always enjoy seeing your comments of where you're watching from. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See what we got here. A lot of comments, but I'm not seeing a lot of questions, guys. Let's see if we have any questions on YouTube. Nikoma Day on YouTube asked, what is your favorite fish to catch? My favorite fish to catch, I would have to say, would be a mangrove snapper. I really enjoy catching mangrove snapper. They're a lot of fun. They're a very aggressive, smart fish. To be consistent on mangrove snapper and be that guy who's out there catching mangrove snapper consistently and catching them often, that's a really, really good angler. And a mangrove snapper, that consistent mangrove snapper bite will set apart a inexperienced angler from an experienced angler any day. A lot of people can go out there and catch the Vermilion snapper, the porgies, get lucky with those yellowtail, but those mangrove snapper, to catch large quality mangrove snapper consistently is not easy. Takes a lot of practice, a lot of skill. That's why those 12-hour night snapper trips are difficult sometimes, because people going out there expect to catch a bunch of mangroves, but if you don't know what you're doing, it's very difficult to be consistent on mangrove snapper. But you'll have someone go out there on the 12-hour night snapper that does our 39-hour trip with a lot of success, and they'll go out there and they'll catch a limit of mangrove snapper on that trip while other people are struggling to catch one mangrove. So the tips and the tricks with the mangrove snapper really make a difference, and I really enjoy fishing for mangrove snapper for that reason. I would have to say behind mangrove snapper would be hogfish. They're a lot of fun to fish for, but I enjoy catching all the fish, and I really enjoy teaching people how to catch fish. I think the best part of my job is watching people get hooked on fishing and teaching people how to fish, especially kids. Love seeing the kids out there enjoying some fishing fun. Another YouTube question from MD's88. Do you have any luck fishing hard bottom without fish shows? I'm assuming it would be better to fish hard bottom with a decent bait show above it. That's not always true. I like to fish structure, especially in the winter time, or especially in certain times of the year. The hard bottom structure, like a big ledge, you're not always going to see this huge fish show on it. What I like to do is I'll circle an area and try to find the best part of the ledge where there's a nice show. But if I know this ledge or this rock pile or this spring produces fish and there's not a fish show on it, I might anchor up on it and start dropping baits down. And a lot of times, even if you don't see a show to start, if you get bait smell going in the water and you start dropping baits to bottom, a lot of times your screen will light up. And often when you start dropping baits on a show that's very small, you can see that show blow up. So those fish live up underneath that ledge or inside those springs or sometimes in those little holes in the rock bottom. So when you drop baits down, those fish will come out of those cracks and crevices, and also those fish will congregate. So a lot of times if you have a hard bottom area, there's fish spread out over that area, but if you start dropping baits to a specific spot in that area, those fish will congregate to that area. So yes, fishing hard bottom structure, whether you see your show or not, does work, but it's got to be some good quality hard bottom. I wouldn't fish that shell bottom or that patchy bottom without a fish show. I look for that super hard bottom before I anchor up, or I look for a good fish show. Bait shows work for mangrove snapper, for red snapper, for red grouper, but bait shows isn't what you're going after if you're going to go target those gag grouper or hogfish. Keyman Keys on YouTube asked, "How is fishing in August on the 39 hour?" It's hot, but we're going to be hunting for the amberjack. The yellowtail should be biting well. You have a shot for some Cubera snapper in August. It's a good time. I mean, there's no bad time of year to go on a 39-hour trip. With all that fishing time and all that flexibility, we catch a lot of fish almost year round. But it really just kind of depends on what you're targeting. People ask, hey, what's the best time of year to go on your trip? Well, it kind of depends on what you want to catch, because the seasons vary and certain fish are biting better certain times of year. I would say August is a great time of year to go out there for some snapper, have a shot at some amberjack. Those wahoo are in the area right now, so it's a good time of year to get out there. Hookah268 said, "How did Will McClure survive red snapper season?" He did very well. Very impressed with Will McClure and Ryan Murphy, our two mates on our 39 and 44-hour trips. They did the entire red snapper season, 3 trips a week, all the way through season. They took 1 trip off. That was it. So that was really impressive. They both did a very good job. We're blessed to have an awesome team of crew and captains at Hubbard's Marina, and office staff and rental staff and beach staff. Everybody, we're really blessed to have a great team. And hopefully you guys can come enjoy that and see how hard we work to make sure that you guys have a great experience. Jake Hodges said on YouTube, "Glad to see they caught those 2 poachers that bow hunted the snook a few weeks ago." I'm very happy they found them too. Very upsetting when people don't obey fishery regulation and fishery rules, and to be outright poaching snook out of season like that, wow. Especially inside John's Pass, where there's so many cameras and people watching. They were not the brightest bulbs in the box. They armed trespass, so they trespassed private property with a weapon. They illegally harvested snook by shooting snook, which you're not allowed to do. They harvested snook that were over slot and under slot. They tried to harvest snook out of season. There was just countless violations, so they're definitely going to be in some trouble. And Ryan May said, "Any thought of doing a Pulley Ridge trip?" No. We used to do a Pulley Ridge trip for many years. We've been fishing Pulley Ridge since I was a little kid. We used to do Tortugas trips back in the day as well. And there's plenty of fish to our west. We find that we catch plenty of great fish just a little bit further south than us, and all the way up to the north of us. There's no reason to run all the way down there. We catch tons of queen snapper, big snowy grouper, barrelfish, tilefish, all to our right off our central west coast of Florida here. So we are not thinking about doing a Pulley Ridge trip. You can't anchor there. And they just actually doubled the size of Pulley Ridge. And they're starting to talk about adding some fishing regulations and stuff. So Pulley Ridge is a contentious area, and we are not going to make the run down there anytime soon, Ryan. We do have a 63-hour trip coming up this August 16th, I think. It's got a super light load on it. Captain Mark Hubbard, my father, might be taking it out on the Mrs. Hub. Or if we get enough people, we'll take it on the Florida Fisherman 2. And we catch tons of big queen snapper, and a bunch of other fish as well. I can show you real quick here what we did on the last. Let's see here. Where is that 63-hour photos? The last 63 hours should be right here somewhere. Someone pointed out to me. There it is. So this was our last 63 hour back in May. Lots of big tile fish, some longtail bass, some big porgies, tile fish, big porgies, huge Kitty Mitchell, longtail bass, Kitty Mitchell's, tuna, nice tile fish, little water spout action. I love this photo. This is one of my favorite photos. Will is unknowingly posing in front of this guy. That's a great photo. Some huge yellow edge grouper, some nice tiles, some big snowies, mahi. It was a great trip, and even with the current, we're able to anchor up. That's why we love fishing this area. There's a nice picture of the catch. They had a great trip for sure. Nice light load of people as well. So those 63-hour trips, even when we're not fishing all the way down south like that, we do a good job. And it's always a great time because they have super light load. So August 16th promises to be a great 63-hour trip with the super light load. And Bob Harbison, Captain Mark Hubbard, Will McClure, Brian Holland, Ryan Murphy, all those guys would love to see you join us on that 63-hour. Let's see if we can't get another question here. Mark Gardner said, hello from Jacksonville. I will be going on a trip on the 39-hour trip August 10th. Will amberjack be in season then? Yes, Mark. Amberjack season is open August 1st through the end of October. So we have amberjack open August, September, and October. So we're looking forward to a great amberjack season. With the amberjack, big reels, big 9-aught reels with 100-pound to 125-pound leader, big 10 to 12-aught hooks, a big old circle hook with a huge live bait, or a huge jig, vertical jig, works well for those amberjack as well. Looking forward to amberjack season. Moman said, what's the best bait for grouper? Well, it kind of depends on your grouper species. For scamp grouper, I like using either a small pinfish or a slow pitch jig along the bottom. For red grouper, I like a long strip of cut squid wing, or a live pinfish, or a cut piece of pinfish. You could cut the head, cut the tail, and use what's called a plug, or a butterflied live bait works really well for red grouper too. For gag grouper, the biggest, meanest squirrel fish, also known as a sand perch, is a great bait for gag grouper. Gags will bite the butterflied bait as well, so it just kind of depends on what grouper you're going after there, Moman. John Casey said, how are the 12-hour night trips doing? The last 12-hour night trip did pretty well. Some nice vermilions, yellowtails, some mangroves. They're doing really well. The 12-hour night trip, though, targets those mangrove snappers. So the experienced anglers do very well. The inexperienced anglers struggle a little bit, and they catch a lot of the porgies and vermilions. But Leon Robinson, one of our fairly experienced anglers that goes out with us quite a bit, sent me some photos of the nice mangroves he caught, and he said that he had a great time. He watched one of those mangrove snapper fishing tips videos that we have here on our website. Let me pull it up here. Under fishing trips, you can go to fishing tips on our website and scroll down on the fishing tips page, and he said he watched this mangrove snapper secrets video, and it helped him to catch a lot of mangrove snapper on that 12-hour night snapper trip. So it really just depends on your skill level and your experience level, John. But some guys, I know I saw video or photos from Leon where These other gentlemen who weren't quite as experienced used a chicken rig with small pieces of squid and caught a huge stringer full of vermilion and lane snappers. So you can definitely do a bunch of different kinds of fish out there. And those 12-hour night snapper trips are a lot of fun to fish over the night, especially on a full moon. Chris Jimmy said, Michael wants to know if y'all can get her on some hogfish on the 12th. Well, Chris, I don't know what trip you have scheduled for the 12th off the top of my head. You guys do a lot of our private charters, so if you're on one of those 12-hour extreme style Flying Hub 2 trips, we can target hogfish, but the thing about hogfish is they're closer to shore. So to target hogfish, we have to stay near shore and not go out as far. And we're not as in deep water, because hogfish are anywhere from about 30 foot of water out to about maybe 70, 80 foot of water. So if we're targeting hogfish, we're staying inshore using lighter tackle. So if you want to go deep and catch big grouper, it's tough to do hogfish and big grouper in one day's trip. We can try it, but you have to bring extra tackle. You bring the light tackle and the big tackle, and you have to transition, because you start fishing near shore, then you go out deeper, or you start fishing deeper and then come inshore. So it's a little difficult to do both. I would recommend doing one trip just for hogfish and then do another trip just for deep water big grouper action. But Chris, you and Michael know we'll do whatever you guys want to do on your private charter. That's the beauty of booking a private charter, is you can get us to customize the trip towards what you want to catch. Greg Carr said, what times do the PM 5-hour half day run? It runs from 1 p.m. in the afternoon, Greg, to 6 p.m. At night. Tomorrow we have a super light load on that Monday afternoon half day. That's a 5-hour trip, about an hour ride out, hour ride back, 3 hours of fishing time. Getting a lot of action on that near shore half day trip. We don't get a lot of big fish. Most of the fish you're catching are smaller, but it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to get out in the water. It's only $55 for adults and half price for kids 11 and under. So it's a great way to get out in the water. Linda Howard said, how is the fishing in October? Linda, the fishing in October is great. I love fishing in the fall months and into the winter months here in Florida because it's cooler and the fish are biting well as long as the weather's nice. So in October, it becomes very important to watch the weather, because we have those cold fronts, and leading up to a cold front, the weather is great, or the fishing is great. But as that cold front blows through, it really stirs up the water, and that sandy, dirty water is not so good for the fishing. But behind that, as the water calms down and the water clears up, the fishing gets really good again. So the fishing in October is great as long as the weather is nice. Mo Man asked, what cut bait do grouper chew? Grouper chew a variety of cut bait. I catch a lot of big gags on cut thread fins, and then you can cut live bait. If you have fresh live bait that dies, you can cut the head, cut the tail, and use that plug for red grouper or gag grouper. You can butterfly fresh dead live bait. You can fillet some of those fish, some of those live baits for grouper as well. So grouper will bite cut squid, cut threadfin, and a variety of cut dead fish that you pull out of the live well, like squirrelfish. A butterflied squirrelfish or sand perch is awesome bait for grouper. Ivan Popoff said, great 44-hour. Captain Garrett and the crew were awesome. They put us on the big groupers, big amberjacks, and even a few big sharks. Great time once again, and definitely be back soon. You all rock. Thanks, Ivan. I appreciate it. Always good to see you and your wife down at Hubbard's Marina. Linda Howard said, "Is the fishing better at night?" Yes and no, Linda. The fishing for mangrove snapper on a full moon is really good at night. The fishing for mangrove snapper on an overcast day is really good. What's happening right now, Linda, and why we're talking about night fishing so much is we just had a full moon. So on a full moon, that bright moon allows fish to feed through the night. The bait fish and the prey fish are a little bit more active at night because they have the cover of darkness, and a lot of species like squid will spawn on the full and new moons at night. So at night on a or on a full moon, we have strong currents, baits are moving, and the predators get really excited. So a full moon has a really good night bite for snapper, some gag grouper, a lot of pelagic fish. A new moon also has a pretty good bite as well, especially during the day, because on a new moon there's no moonlight through the night, so the bite is concentrated during those 12 to 15 hours of daylight that those fish have to hunt and prey on those fish. So it really depends on the time of the month and the moon phase, Linda, to determine how the night bite is. But typically, closer to the full moon, the night bite gets really good. Let's see what other questions we have here. Rick Littler asked a great question. Why is a 63-hour trip still a 2-day bag limit if technically you're out more than 48 hours? Great question. We get that question a lot. We get questions about our 12-hour night snapper since you leave Friday and come back Saturday. Why isn't that a 2-day limit? We get questions about our 39-hour trip since you're out for technically 3 days. Can you get a 3-day limit? On our 63-hour, it's more than 48 hours, so people want a 3-day limit. The rule is you have to, in order to get a 2-day bag limit, you have to be on a Coast Guard inspected vessel. No, excuse me. That's wrong. You have to be on a federally permitted charter vessel with a receipt that proves you paid for a charter greater than 24 hours. And you have to have sleeping quarters. So the captain is able, you just have to have sleeping quarters is the rule. So you have to be on a federally permitted charter boat greater than 24 hours with sleeping quarters. The bean bags, we've kind of gone back and forth with the Coast Guard and FWC, and it's kind of a gray area. On a uninspected charter vessel, you can kind of have a little bit more leeway there. On an inspected charter boat, like a lot of our boats here at Hubbard's Marina, almost all of our boats, we have to have 2 captains on a trip longer than 12 hours because a captain and crew on an inspected vessel can't work longer than 12 hours. So it's a little bit, oh, did I get a little choppy here? Let me know if the video quality gets a little bit shaky on me. I noticed some choppiness. If you guys notice any choppiness, let me know in the comments. Hopefully we don't have any shakiness in the video. But back to what I was saying, you can only have a 2-day limit. So if you're out for more than 2 days, if you're out for 54 hours, 63 hours, 72 hours, you can never have more than a 2-day limit of fish on the vessel. So maximum is a 2-day limit. So the 63-hour, you can't have a 3-day limit because your maximum on a recreational fishing vessel is a 2-day limit. Even if you're out for 12 days, it's still a 2-day limit, unfortunately. So to get a 2-day limit, you have to be on a federally permitted charter boat with a receipt saying you paid for a charter greater than 24 hours, and that boat has to, or that vessel has to have sleeping quarters. And you can't get more than a 2-day limit, unfortunately. Mark Thomason said, what is your favorite old school go-to lure bait when all else fails? My favorite go-to bait is a double snell rig with some cut thread fin, cut the head, cut the tail, trim the belly on a thread fin. With that double snell rig, it seems to work very, very well to get those fish fired up and bring home a lot of fish and catch a lot of fish. So that's definitely my go-to when all else fails, is that double snell rig. Dive Signal said, what is the best live bait for red grouper? The best live bait for red grouper would probably be, I don't know, for red grouper, I don't know. Best live bait for red grouper would probably be a pinfish or a pigfish. There's not really, in my opinion, one bait better for a red grouper than any other. Red grouper are kind of scavengers. They go out over that large area, hard rock bottom, and they'll bite just about anything. I really like using cut squid, a squid strip out of the squid wing for the red grouper. So to say one bait's better than I take that bit back. Captain Frank loves fishing with live lizard fish for those red grouper. So I would say a lizard fish is a really good red grouper bait. That'd probably be my go-to live bait for red grouper. For gag grouper, my go-to live bait would be a squirrelfish or a sand perch. For scamp grouper, a smaller pinfish would be my go-to. Tom Ray said, what sharks do you get on the Friday night trophy shark trips? I understand you provide all the tackle and reels and shared among the angler, allowing everybody to get into the fight. Excuse me. Yes, Tom, I typically run those trophy shark trips on Friday nights myself, at least when I can, and we typically catch bull sharks, tiger sharks. We catch, man, I hate internet sometimes. Bright House is killing me. Looks like we are reconnecting. Audio to frozen. Charlene Joe, is the audio and video back? You should be back in action now. Let me know when we're back here, guys. Really annoying. Bright House is screwing me. All right, we're back in action here, folks. Sorry about that, folks. I've had Bright House out here 3 times the past 2 weeks, and they still can't fix this frickin' problem. So I apologize for that. Thank you for those of you who stuck in there. But back to Tom Ray's question, we catch a variety of different sharks. Typically hammerheads and bull sharks are the most commonly caught fish on those trophy shark trips. We see a few black tips, a few spinner sharks as well. So it kind of just depends on the week. And we do provide all the tackle on our trophy shark trip. We do use some huge 9/0 and 12/0 reels with some 125 to 200 pound braids, some 300 pound cables, some huge 16/0 hooks. It's a really, really fun trip. So if you ever get a chance to join me for one of those trophy shark trips, I think you'd have a blast. So thanks for that question. Ann Simmons said, where are the reds hiding? Caught none this year. We caught a lot of red snapper here at Hubbard's Marina. A ton of red snapper on our long-range 39-hour and 12-hour extreme trips. The 12-hour party boat trip struggled a little bit towards the end of red snapper season, especially around the full moon. The day bite on the 12-hour party boat trip kind of sucked a little bit, but the red snapper bite on the 39-hour and 12-hour extreme did very well. So, Ann, I don't know if you're talking about red snapper or redfish, but we found plenty of red snapper during red snapper season at least. Michael Jimmy said, I'll wait to charter another trip for the hogfish. We're doing the 12-hour extreme. Yeah, Michael, Jimmy, on the 12-hour on the Flying Hub 2, we're going to go deep. We're going to go fast. We're going to try to get you some of those big scamp and big gags and a few big red grouper and some of the snapper species mixed in. For the hogfish, I would recommend a totally different style trip, maybe an 8 or 10 hour, or even you could do a 12-hour hogfish trip. You don't need one of the faster boats, but you could still use the Flying Hub too if that's what you prefer. We have caught some big hogfish on the Flying Hub too, even in deeper waters, so you never know. Let's see here if we got another question here. What is the best trip in early March? John Smeal said. The best trip in early March is, I think the best trip any time of year is either a long-range private charter on our Flying Hub fleet, either the Flying Hub 1 or Flying Hub 2, or a 39 or 44-hour or 63-hour trip. Those specialty trips are really the best trips we offer. If you're an experienced angler who goes out there and you fish a lot of times in deeper water, you want one of those specialty trips where we're fishing deep water for big fish. Our 5-hour half day, our 10-hour all day, even our 12-hour day trip and 12-hour night snapper trip are not super long range specialty trips. To get out there in blue water, you need a 12-hour extreme, a 39-hour, a 44-hour, a 63-hour, or a 12-hour private charter on the Flying Hub 1 or Flying Hub 2. So the best trips are those longer trips that are going to get you out there to blue water, in my opinion. But a 10-hour all day in early March gives you a really good shot at some hogfish, even a 5-hour half day. The kingfish and mackerel are running near shore too, so it really depends on your budget and your time frame there, John, as far as what's the best trip. But in early March, hogfish, kingfish, mackerel, near shore, offshore in early March, typically we're starting to focus on some of that red grouper and mangrove snapper action. It kind of depends on where the season are from, or where the season are at. And Johnny Creamer said, heading out Wednesday with Captain Garrett, hopefully to get a 100-pound amberjack. That's a good shot. The amberjack season is opening up this Wednesday, August 1st, and we're looking forward to it for sure. Thank you. Mo Man said, when you say butterfly bait, do you mean fillet the sides or open the back and leave the guts? What I mean by butterflying the bait is you lay the bait flat and you start at the tail and you reverse fillet the fish. So you cut from the tail up towards the head, and you do that on either side, and then you twist the backbone and pull it out. So then all you have is the head and the two fillets flapping, and the fillets are attached to the head still. So it looks like that fish is still kind of swimming, but it's just all nothing but meat and guts and smell going under the water, and that butterfly bait works really, really well. Let's see what other questions we have. Not sure. Let's see what other questions. All right, Chris Droulard said, any opens for the snapper trip Friday night? We have a lot of openings for our snapper trip this Friday night, Chris. We have a lot of openings on the half-day trip tomorrow. We have a lot of openings on our Tuesday 10-hour all-day. And Mark asked, what about those sharks? That's our trophy shark trip we do on Friday nights from 7 p.m. to midnight. We also offer shark fishing private charters. You can do a 5-hour charter with 1 to 6 people, starting at about $720 for sharks. You can do a shark fishing charter with more than 6 people, starting out about $850. So there's a lot of options for you if you want to go catch sharks. You can join that public trip Friday night. You can book a private charter, whatever you want to do. And we catch a lot of the bull sharks, hammerhead sharks. We see some spinner sharks, occasionally see a tiger shark, and then a variety of lemon sharks, dusky sharks, silky sharks, smooth dogtooth sharks. It's definitely Shark Week because we're getting a lot of shark questions tonight. I miss Shark Week. I don't have cable. I have one of those Android boxes, and I stream all my TV illegally. It's the way to do it nowadays. So I totally missed Shark Week. Ryan May asked on YouTube what happened. Sorry about that, man. I cut out for a little bit. Robert Eaton, thanks for the comment. Robert said on YouTube, how would you target mangrove snapper when the current is running fast to free line or knock rig? Mangrove snapper, my favorite way to target mangrove snapper is with an egg sinker on your main line, a swivel, about a 4 to 5 foot leader, and double snell hooks. When I'm fishing out there past 110 foot of water, I typically double snell 6/0 hooks with a thread fin plug, which is cut the head, cut the tail, and trim the belly. Inside of 100 foot of water, typically about a 4 to 5/0 double snell rig for those mangrove snapper with a egg sinker on your main line, swivel, and then that leader to those double snell rigs. That is definitely my go-to mangrove snapper rig. And again, Ryan, I will show you here on our Hubbard's Marina webpage. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com under fishing trips, you can go to the fishing tips page. On the fishing tips page, we have a how to tie double snell rig video. So this video right here is going to show you how to tie that double snell rig, and then down towards the bottom, that's going to give you all my mangrove snapper fishing tips and tricks. And then we have some of my Bass Pro Shop seminars here. We have the How to Catch Hogfish podcast with Salt Strong. A lot of information there on our website that's at your fingertips. Robert Eaton, if you want to learn some more about those mangrove snapper. Holden McLeod on YouTube said, do you have any job openings? We do have some job openings. We are always looking for qualified help. We have a lot of job openings, actually. Not really looking for any help on the boats so much. We are always on the lookout for qualified, mechanically inclined people that could be deckhands in the future. We're always on the lookout for experienced captains, customer service oriented people who don't mind dealing with the public. We always accept applications, and I am looking for some help in a few positions at Hubbard's Marina. We're always accepting applications, so don't be afraid to drop by and fill out an application. We're not actively hiring, but I always like to meet some qualified possible employees. Let's see what other questions we have. MDs88 said, I know the mangrove bite is good at night on the full moon. Is it still good several days before or after the full moon? Do you still fish them at night with little to no moon, or just fish them during the day? Typically what we'll do with our night mangrove snapper trip is we will fish the mangrove snapper on the full moon and then on the quarter moons, and we will avoid the new moon. So a week or so after a full moon is still good. A week before the full moon is still good, but 2 weeks after that full moon, when it starts getting closer to that new moon, the night fishing isn't as good. Even the daytime fishing is good though, on the mangrove snapper, especially when the daytime's a little bit more overcast and you don't have a lot of sun penetration in the water. That's when those mangrove snapper really seem to flourish, and the bite gets really good, especially around the new moon. If you have a really overcast day, that typically is when the mangrove snapper bite is crazy. Ryan May asked, any sharks show up under your fillet tables at Hubbard's Marina? Yes, we do have some sharks show up inside John's Pass. I was talking to a gentleman at my Bass Pro Shop seminar who attended. He said they caught a 200 to 300 pound Goliath grouper from the beach behind Hubbard's Marina, which is crazy to me. I didn't think we had Goliath grouper under the Johns Pass Bridge, but apparently the Goliath grouper are thick inside Johns Pass, because they've caught a few Goliath grouper from the beach there behind Hubbard's Marina. And I was talking to another gentleman just the day after, or actually that was today, in the shop, and him and his wife had fished all the way through the night, and they had jumped 2 spinner sharks inside Johns Pass. So not only are there Goliath grouper under the Johns Pass Bridge, but people are catching sharks there as well. We go offshore for our shark fishing trips. We fish about 50 to 60 foot of water for some really big 8, 9, 10 foot sharks. We catch some Goliath grouper too, but we're targeting those bigger sharks. In Johns Pass and around Johns Pass, you can catch some really big sharks, but it's a lot harder, in my opinion, to land those sharks, especially inside the pass with all those docks, poles, and bridges in the way. When we're offshore, we have a lot more room to work, and I think we have a little bit more success. So let's see if we got any questions on our Captain Dylan Hubbard page. Rusty Kane said, when are you going to have a hands-on knot tying class? I've got some knot tying videos on our fishing tips page. Hands-on knot. We have a hands-on knot tying class after every Bass Pro Shop seminar. I'm always available to show you. So one of my in-person seminars would be a great opportunity for a hands-on knot tying class, Rusty. My next in-person seminar is going to be August 25th at the Tampa Bass Pro Shops. I will be there, and I'd be more than happy to do a hands-on knot tying class before or after that seminar, Rusty. Linda Patrick Beach on the Captain Dylan Hubbard page said, I'm an absolute amateur. I can't find anybody to go fishing with because I'm a girl. Well, Linda, that is wrong. You can find plenty of people to fish with. We have plenty of lady anglers that go out fishing on our 39-hour trips and a lot of other trips, and especially on our half-day trips. So Linda Beach, don't think because you're a girl you can't go fishing. There's even whole women Facebook fishing groups created for you guys. A part of the Tampa Bay Fishing Club, a really good local online fishing forum. They have a whole women's fishing club, part of that Tampa Bay Fishing Club. Freddie Freddie, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but Freddie, scroll up in the comments and answer Linda Beach's questions and post that Ladies Anglers Club for me there, Freddie. All right, let's see if we got any questions back here. Jeff Wiggins said, what days do your 39-hour trips run? Jeff, I'm going to refer to the website here. Once you're at hubbardsmarina.com, you would want to go to fishing trips and then scroll down to specialty trip schedule. Our specialty trip schedule is going to have all our 5-hour trophy shark trip dates, all our red snapper trip dates, which red snapper is over, all our 12-hour night trip dates, all the extreme trip dates for the year, all our 39-hour trip dates, our 44-hour, our 63-hour. So those 39-hour dates are right here. So our next 39-hour is going to be August 3rd. We have another one August 7th, August 10th, August 31st. We've got a 44-hour trip in August. We've got a 63-hour trip in August as well. So we got a lot of great trips coming up here at Hubbard's Marina. And the one I'm most excited about is this August 16th, 63-hour. It's got a super light load on it. And if it doesn't get more than 4 or 5 people, Cap Mark's going to take it on the Mrs. Hub is what the rumor is. So that's going to be a really cool trip. Alberto Torres said, what shark trips do we offer? Alberto, I talked about that a little bit earlier in the video. We do a Friday night 5-hour trophy shark trip. We also do shark fishing private charters for as low as $700-ish for a starting price. I think it's $720 for a 5-hour half day for 1 to 6 people, and for 7 to 14 people it starts out about $860 or so for a 5-hour half day charter, and we can do those for shark fishing specifically. Catherine Sargent said, what is the best way to hook a live pinfish? Well, there's 2 ways I would recommend hooking a live pinfish. If you're anchor fishing, typically you would hook it through the back half of the pinfish, right above the anal fin. If you're drift fishing for grouper, or if you're fishing in a strong current, you're going to hook it up underneath the chin and out the top of the face. But if I'm anchor fishing, I'll typically hook it just above the anal fin on the back lower section of that pinfish, right above the anal fin. But if I'm anchor fishing and the bite's really good, I'll hook it up underneath the chin and out the top of the face. That way I can get it to bottom really quickly, because if you hook them in the back half, you have to drop it down a little bit slower by putting more pressure on with your thumb, because that's going to make that bait spin, and it's going to drown the bait on the way to bottom, and it's not as quick of a descent. Whereas if you hook it up underneath the chin, it can go to bottom really quick and really easily. Michael Murphy said, shark fishing open in September. Yes, Michael, our shark fishing trip, the public 5-hour shark fishing trip ends, I think, in August. End of August is our last public shark fishing trip, but you can always book a shark fishing private charter any time of year. Michael Murphy. Let's see if we have any other questions. Joe said, do you know why there aren't more muttons caught out there? We catch a lot of muttons in our area, more to the south. Mutton snapper just don't really spread up the central west coast of Florida as thick as they do in the southern areas and up the east coast. On the east coast and in the Caribbean, I feel like there's a little less area for those fish, so they're a little bit more concentrated. In the Keys and the Bahamas, those reef systems really concentrate those fish, and they thrive a little bit more down south on those reef systems. Mutton snapper tend to spread out in our area. We catch a decent amount of mutton snapper, but they're more spread out and they're not as thick in central west coast of Florida and further north. They get less and less common. As you head south, mutton snapper become more and more common, at least on the west coast of Florida. Mark Gardner said, how well is cobia fishing on the fish? I'm not 100% sure what Mark's asking here, but I think what he's asking is the cobia fishing. And the cobia fishing is pretty decent. We catch a lot of cobia, but it's more of a bycatch. We catch those cobia because they come cruising up to the fishing boat to check things out. Most of the cobia we catch, we sight fish or we free gaff those fish as they swim by. So we don't necessarily have cobia fishing trips here in our area. We don't have a directed cobia fishery like they do in the Northern Gulf, but we do catch them fairly frequently when we're bottom fishing and they come swimming up on us. So yes and no. We see a lot of cobia this time of year, but I wouldn't say they're so thick to where we target them, Mr. Gardner. Robert Eaton said, do you think the FWC will ever get Goliath grouper off the protected list? Yes, I think they would if we get an opportunity for scientists to be able to harvest Goliath grouper. Unfortunately, in order for a very accurate stock assessment to be completed, the scientists need things like DNA samples, fin ray samples, stomach content samples, and otoliths. And the only way to collect an otolith is if that fish is dead. The otolith is the ear bone of that fish, and it shows the growth rate of the fish, and it shows what size the fish is in relation to its age. And that age composition and growth rate data will really show the scientists what the recruitment is and how strong those year classes are of the fishery. Without that information, you can't create an accurate stock assessment model. So in order to have an accurate grasp of how many Goliath grouper are out there, they need to have an accurate stock assessment model. And in order to have that, they have to kill some of them. So unfortunately, we need some type of limited access season on these Goliath grouper where we can go out there and kill 100, 200, 300 Goliaths every 6 months or every year, so that way the scientists can collect those carcasses. I would like to see some type of lottery system open like they have on alligators. Give each county a handful of tags and let people go out there and collect some Goliaths, and make it mandatory that that carcass has to be brought to FWC, or FWC has to be called when you're landing one to keep. And that way they can come out there and collect that scientific information. And after a year or so of limited harvest on that lottery system, they'd have enough scientific information to say, oh, we made a mistake, we need to stop doing this, or oh man, there's tons of them out there, let's open it up for a year-long season. So the only way to get them off that protected or endangered species list is to allow a harvest of a limited number of Goliaths. And unfortunately, the environmental groups and the divers, the dive companies that go out there and view these Goliath groupers on dive trips, really fought hard not to open Goliath grouper, while the divers who spearfish really wanted to open Goliaths, and the anglers really wanted to open Goliaths, and the stone crabbers, where all the Goliaths are eating all their stone crab, and the lobster fishermen where the Goliaths are eating all their lobster. And you and I, who are out there hook and line fishing, or the spear fishermen, all want Goliaths to be open because there's so many of them out there. They're eating all our lobster, stone crab, fish on the hook and line, or fish on the spear. It's really becoming a problem. So that's the age-old battle, and unfortunately more people need to get involved and get their voice heard, and science needs to create an accurate stock assessment model by collecting some of those. Jeff Wiggins says, so your red snapper trips are only 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. No, Jeff Wiggins, we have 39-hour trips for red snapper, 44-hour trips for red snapper, 12-hour trips from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But red snapper is closed, Jeff Wiggins. Red snapper was open June 1st to July 21st at July 21st through the end of the day. So red snapper is closed, and red snapper will remain closed until June 2019. So red snapper is over and will not open again until summer 2019. Looks like I've answered pretty much all the questions here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's live fishing seminar Q&A. We do these every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. Again, August 25th is going to be the next one. Or August 25th is my next in-person seminar at Bass Pro Shops. And I'm going to check my calendar here. What day is today? Today is the 29th of... Okay. So next Sunday, I'm open, it looks like. So August 5th, a week from today at 8:30 p.m., we're going to be doing this again. August 25th at 2 p.m. at the Tampa Bass Pro Shops, if you would like to enjoy an in-person seminar. Thank you for all those people who came to that in-person seminar yesterday at Bass Pro Shops. Remember, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy. Hopefully we'll see you out at Hubbard's Marina this week for some of those light loads we have coming up. Remember, we got a light load on our 5-hour half day Monday, tomorrow afternoon. Tuesday, we've got plenty of room on our 10-hour trip. We've got 39 and 44 and 63-hour trips coming up. And remember, Amberjack open August 1st. They're open through the end of October. Gags are open through the end of the year. We've got tons of mangrove snapper and yellowtail biting right now. Hogfish should be picking up. Kingfish and mackerel are around the corner. So lots of exciting stuff coming up at Hubbard's Marina. If you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy, you can always go to hubbardsmarina.com. Right from our website, click fishing trips. You can see all the different trips we have to offer. You can click on the trip for more information. You can go down to the fishing tips page to see all our tips and tricks. Weather links page to get all your weather information. The schedule is there for you. Under the info tab, you can see what we've been catching. You can see what's going on with our fishing reports in the latest photos. You can read how you can get a free birthday trip. You can read some of our history, some of the frequently asked questions. The frequently asked questions page is a huge list of information for you. So if you ever want to know anything, it's listed here on our facts page. That is a ton of information I typed out for you guys. We're going to be doing some work on the website and making it even better. So a lot of information on our website for you, and more is coming. So stay tuned. We'll see you next Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. for another live fishing seminar Q&A. Check out the Real Animals radio show every Saturday at 970 WFLA and Sunday on 620 WDAE. We do our live fishing reports right there on the radio too. And that's about all I can think of, guys. So hopefully we'll see you for some fishing trips here at Hubbard's Marina sometime soon. I hope you have a wonderful night and a great week. And God bless.